the doctor says that she has ectopic pregnancy, and we're like, wait, what does that even mean? And what are we supposed to do now? And we need to admit you to the hospital immediately.
And we need to get you into surgery urgent because it's very high risk. It's a life threatening. I'm like,
Yes.
oh wait, I was like trying to save the baby. It's like, no, your life is in risk. Like, it's not even a chance to save the baby. He's inside of the tube, and you need to remove the tube. We'll be talking about mom and mommy's story, and we're really gonna focus this conversation our experience with the ectopic pregnancy.
Yeah.
This story I haven't told on social media as whole yet, and this story kind of like my experiences changed a lot of things in my life. And when I think back of that, the way I felt, the things that I look for, really shaped a lot in my life, my future, and the way I am now, with life, with stories, with mom and experiences. So I'm really, really excited to share this moment with you. And I want first to hear your story, Kusha.
So this is way back, I think in 13 years back, really. And or maybe even more. 13 is so my son is 13, but even 3 years before. So as soon as I got married in the year 2007, and then we moved to another city because our jobs were, did not allow us to stay in the same place. And that's where we were living, just the two of us. And I think on just one odd day, I think I went for the pregnancy test because I think I must have missed my periods. And so that was positive. And when I go and I think both of us were really happy that the test results were positive, and we were like, those newly married couples, so much in love kind of a thing, and just start dreaming about stuff like this. And so when I decided to go to the doctor for a test, just to be like really, really sure about it. So the doctor said that they did a little more couple of tests, and that made me kind of get a little concerned because I didn't know, like, why do we even need so many tests kind of a thing. And I went there all by myself, and because my ex-husband was at his job. So I told him, oh, it's okay, I'll just go get my tests done. And I went from the office because I was also working. So I think I stepped out during lunch hours, and after that, I never reached back the office because the doctor said we need to admit you to the hospital immediately. And I was like, wow, so what's going on here? And this is new, and I don't think I'm ready for this kind of a thing. So this is exactly how I was feeling, because I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't know why she said this, and I was in a totally different city. The local language was also not something that I was fluent with. Forget fluent with. Even for me to understand what they're trying to say was kind of hard. But we did try to communicate in English with the doctor and so on and so forth. But then still, it was something that I was never really ready for. And then that's when I started calling back my mom, my mother-in-law, and my husband. And then he came over, and then we're all sitting there at the hospital, both of us, and the doctor says that she has ectopic pregnancy, and we're like, wait, what does that even mean? And what are we supposed to do now? And so too many questions. And I'm calling my boss because I stepped out during lunch hours, so I was supposed to be back in the office, right? And it's a new place, new office, everything is like really, really new. And I think it just had been about a month, since I moved to that new city. So I didn't know too many people. I was still trying to make a place for my own self, where the accommodation where we had, my office was new, the staff was new, people hardly knew me. So it was so crazy, that at that time in my life, it was just me and my husband then, that we were just on our own, and we had to figure out what this is all about. So he called back home. He knew some people who were doctors, and we try to understand what really is going to happen, because here the doctor said that you need to be admitted and we're going to do your surgery or something, and like a procedure or something. And I was like, okay. And obviously I wasn't ready, and obviously I wanted to go back home, to my hometown. And what, and we're like, why do we need to do it here? Maybe we'll get it done, we'll go back to our own city and get all that done through our family doctors and whatever. She's like, it's very risky, you need to do it ASAP, because it can have complications inside. And that's when we spoke to our own individual family doctors and just try to do a double check on this. And so they did mention that yes, she's right, it's best that you get that thing done, and we'll come there if required. So my parents flew to the city where we were, and later on it was first my in-laws and then my parents, and I don't know, something like that happened. So but before that I was admitted, and they just said that we will have to take out the what do you call that, the egg, because it's not in the right place, it's somewhere in the tubes, and that's what ectopic pregnancy really is. And I was like, okay, so this is interesting. And then she said some people, even if it's very severe, so they even have to cut the tubes. But thankfully, in your case, we won't have to do that. We're just going to do a laparoscopic, so some laser kind of treatment, so that we can remove the egg, and your tubes are still like intact, and it'll be so much better. Now, I had PCOD before I was married, and I kind of was always in the back of the mind worried that will I ever be able to, be pregnant, and will I ever be able to conceive? So, so when this happened, it kind of on the inside, it just made me a little heartbroken and shattered that, I already knew I had PCOD, and now look what has happened, like this is another new thing, and that's also not successful. So it was stressful. It was something which is obviously not expected. And more than that, I think, how it just suddenly makes you lose all hope that maybe I can never become a mom, And so that was the scariest part, because I was just starting my new life, my new journey. And just at the start of it, just 1 month down the line, something like this happened. And it kind of made me feel upset. But at that moment when everything was going on, maybe we didn't figure that out also, because it was more about getting it done, getting the surgery done, making sure it goes well and making sure that I recover. But then when I look back, and after a few days also, this is the only thought that I had in my mind, that maybe I cannot conceive ever again. But that's not what the doctors said. They just said, you've had an ectopic pregnancy. Maybe you can try again after a year or 2 years. And you don't have to think that, you can never, ever conceive. So that was the good part, that they were still giving me hope. But on the inside, I just felt that maybe it's never going to happen. And so the surgery went well, because it was nice and quick, and it just got done. And I stayed there, of course, for about, I think, 24 hours, I think, or 48 hours. I can't remember really, but yes. So that moment was weird. Like I said, new place, new city. We just had to get it done, and that's what we really did. Just listen to the doctors and go ahead with the surgery. And once that was done, I was back home. So I was told I need complete rest. I need to make sure I take care of my health for about another 6 months to 9 months, I suppose. And only after I have full recovery should I, think about even planning, to go ahead with conceiving and all sorts of things. So again, very stressful during that time, because I'm always conscious about my health, and I'm not like feeling free to to enjoy my life with my partner, because back of the mind there's this thing, oh, I'm not well and I'm not supposed to even conceive, and we're supposed to take maybe even not even precautions. I think we had to give like a gap of our own, even the sex life, I feel kind of got a little, on hold and all sorts of things. And, but then once the 6 month period was over, we went back again to the doctors. And, when they did say that you can go ahead. So I put all my positive energy into it. I mean, I was like, as much as the world might say that the chances are bleak, maybe yes, maybe no, who knows? And it's like a trial and error. And also, I was super, super hopeful that I'm going to definitely conceive, sometime soon, and I will definitely become a mom, and I'm going to have a beautiful baby. And, I used to have that kind of energy on the inside and that intention. And about a year and a half, we moved back to our hometown because that's again what we wanted. We wanted to be closer to our family, immediate family members.
Mhm.
And so we both had our respective jobs and we spoke of getting transferred back to our hometown. And then we had one of his sisters who was an exceptionally good gynecologist, and she was working in one of the top, hospitals there in Delhi. And so we went to her. And so my intention and my positive energy and her skills, I think that just did the magic. So 2009 is when we came back and we actually started, planning again to have a baby. And I finally did. And so she told me, so we consulted her, and she said, who on earth said that you can never be pregnant again? You're definitely going to conceive, and you're in safe hands, and I'm going to make sure that, it's going to work out really well for you. And that's exactly what happened. So 2009, when we came, and after a few months, I did conceive. And 2010, March, my son was born, who is now 13 years old.
Wonderful.
So, yeah, so that's that.
My experience, Kusha, was a little bit crazier, let's say, because I believe like all of this, like when we have a pregnancy loss, and especially like the same way as you, we were trying to conceive, you're trying to have a baby, and then once you're pregnant, you have that joy, you're already so ready for that. And it's a whole environment. And when you start like sharing the news with family and friends, like, because even I'm very much like, I like to share. I like, I don't want to wait until I have like a few weeks to whatever, wait until it's safe. So when I was I found I was pregnant, so I shared everything, and then 2 weeks I did the pharmacy test, and I went to the hospital. I was new on the US. I was 3 years. We were 3 years here, so my English was good, but not as good as it is now. I still I learning every day, but it was a little more limited. Anyways, I went to the hospital for the test, and then I had that registered already at the hospital, and I was going through the papers because didn't have like the insurance the way United States is very like expensive, so I didn't have health insurance here at the time. But once I was pregnant, I was able to apply to the government, so I already had started that. And then 2 weeks after I found out, that was about the time I had like an appointment to go and start going to the prenatal procedures and all the tests and stuff. I felt sick overnight. Like I just everything was normal, just kind of something was like wrong. And then I usually like I ate breakfast, I would have like an oatmeal something, and I was about to leave home, and I was like, I feel so sick. And I was like, I was vomiting. I still went to work. I mean, they were like, I was just feeling terrible abdominal pain, and then like I didn't have like spotting, anything, it was just pain. And I have 4 sisters older than me. All of them were moms already. I was 33, so I was late. Everybody had kids way before 30 years. So and I called my sister that was in the US. It's like, well, you shouldn't have pain. Like, I know you can have like it's okay if sometimes you're vomiting, you're feeling stomach sick, but you shouldn't have pain. It's just like discomfort and nausea. It's like, no, it's pain. I having like, a pain in the abdomen. It's like, well, maybe you should check. I just went on my morning, and midday I was like, well, I'm gonna go to the hospital and check. So I was like, I was submitted like 1 or 2 p.m. and it was the whole afternoon. Starting have like, and I once, as soon as I got to the hospital, I said I came because I'm pregnant, and I'm just worried because of this pain. They thought it was like appendicitis, all the stuff they start like checking. The least they start checking was about the pregnancy.
Oh my God.
I don't know why. It's like I came in, I said, they were like, oh, it's this, and like all the questions about other part of the body and the pain.
Yes.
And I was like, I don't know, many hours in when they did, because they did do like kind of like an ultrasound. They didn't see anything in the uterus. Yeah. And then they did an internal ultrasound. That like it's a different one. It was so painful. And she was like, kept asking me, oh, how long did you say was the last time of your period? And it was kind of like, wouldn't make sense. That would be like kind of 3 or 4 weeks pregnant at the time. But like she had like this question mark on her face, and they wouldn't tell me anything. So it was already, I don't know, 10 at night. And the doctor came and then said about the ectopic pregnancy, that the fetus were like, and they were talking like already these technical words. First, ectopic pregnancy for me was like completely like a stranger word, even though I didn't know English. And I was like, I don't understand. Like, well, I was in the wrong place, and then we need to get you into surgery urgent because it's very high risk. It's a life-threatening. I'm like, oh wait. And like I was like trying to save the baby. It's like, no, your life is in risk. Like it's not even a chance to save the baby. He's inside of the tube, and you need to remove the tube. And then I was like, still not 100% understanding what was going on. They put him in a wheelchair. They told him, my husband at the time, he needed to wait outside. They got into like these surgery rooms, and it was so frightening, Kusha. It was just like the movie, like these white, huge surgery rooms, just like a table in the middle, like a bed in the middle, and this huge equipment on top. And then I was like, I start shaking, my body starts shaking. And then they came, the anesthesiologist, and came talk to me. They're gonna be put down 100%. I was like, oh my gosh, just like the movies, they're gonna put you to sleep, and then you don't wake up anymore. You go into coma. I was like, just a lot of things going on in my mind. Like, was completely like out of of the sense of this whole situation happening so quick, like of a pain, and suddenly I was inside this huge like room, and what was so huge. Just one bed in the middle, like really interesting, like very movie-like. So it was like just trying to calm down. I was like just going back to my sense and thinking how a way to calm myself down, because I was trembling, I was really shaking, and I just started practicing the yoga breathing that I learned, and like just kind of like breathing and start like feeling my body to my like the meditation, right? Just like with my breathe, like, getting my sense just to the present. And it was like, whatever happens, I had a good life. I was just already thinking I had a good life. I don't have many enemies. I might have a few people who don't like me, but that's part of life. I was like, okay, if anything happens, was good. I had a good life. And then he put like the mask. He just like take a few deep breaths. I went down. So I was up again the next day, 6 a.m. Everything happened. So I did have the surgery, and I had my right tube removed. They didn't tell me how far it was, but 100% sure was further than your experience, because they didn't have the option to have just the egg removed. They had to remove the tube. And I went home. I was totally like, my body felt heavy. Like I felt like I'll say like that's the way I want to start feeling, like the grounding, how we were connected to earth. I think when everything else is away from you, like earth, nature is the closest thing that you have from everything else in your life. So that's like I felt heavy, my body heavy, I felt like grounded to earth. So I was just like getting the care, A friend came over, made some soup, and I was talking to family, friends, everybody on the phone, everybody away from me. I had a friend close in the same city, but everybody else, even my sister in the US, she was living in Florida. I was living in New York at the time. So everybody was far from me. And the experience, even my husband at the time trying to care for me, it's kind of powerless, because of course they can care at a certain limit, but like emotionally, I didn't feel connected with what was happening and with the people around me. And then even talking to one of my sisters, she had a loss of pregnancy, was late, was 6 months when she was stillborn. And it was really traumatic. Yeah. But it's still like you connect with the loss, you don't connect with the experience. So of course, over the next few weeks, Google was my friend. I was like trying to figure out what happened, why happened, why that? Like I was healthy. I was physically so healthy. I didn't have like any health issue for many years, and try to understand it's just like, unfortunately, sometimes it's just that happened. And then one of these stories, like we didn't have Facebook at the time, or Facebook just came up, but wasn't open the way it is now. We didn't have this connection with other people, but blog existed, different type of blogs or forums. So in one of them with the moms, I found a story very similar to mine, and she did have a loss of tube, and she had, I think she had 2 pregnancies after that. And she said, I don't know if she had 2 pregnancies, but I'm 100% sure she had 2 times ectopic pregnancy. So once she had the tube removed, and once she was able to just have a medicine that would dissolve the egg. She didn't have any surgery, but was really early, because once you have one time, as soon as you find out you're pregnant, the doctor go right over to check, your condition. So that what happened to me. So it's like, first I was like, okay, I'm okay if I cannot have, like over time, like kind of, okay, if it doesn't happen, I'm not, become a mom. I was just kind of getting into peace of myself with the situation, because also the chance with having just YouTube is, lower. I was already over 33 years old. So all this age, and now so I wouldn't be trying so soon. I was just wanted to get over the situation. And, but that story really was the one that connected me and brought me, hope that, about my health and about the possibilities. What happened right after that, and the same year, my husband's aunt passed away, and she left him an amount of money that he was wanting, because we came to the US for him to work with filmmaking and kind of dedicate more time to that. And once he got that money available, he said, well, now I can make the film. And the fact that we weren't having the baby, I was able to help him. And I ended up being involved, because many things, like that's not the story right now, but many things fell through about the people connected with him to help him make the film that he was trying to make. And then I ended up becoming more involved with the story, more involved with the experience of the filmmaking and helping him. So that's how we started my story of connection with the filmmaking and with mom's stories, kind of the same timing, but completely out of what would become now today, what I'm doing and how I'm sharing mom's story, how I'm involved with the moms and in filmmaking too, because at the time I was just helping with the behind the scenes, with productions, getting the things done, getting equipment on time, getting renting, getting the bills, getting the schedules, all the production part, not even involved. Later on, I got involved with the story, becoming a cinematographer for another film of his. But this whole experience that I lived at the time helped me understand how it is important to share the story. Because that story that I read in 2007, I think was a story that was shared way before, like many years before.
Right.
That brought me hope at that time. And the stories that we're sharing now, we're going to connect and we're going to tell people about the ectopic pregnancy that many people haven't heard still. It doesn't know. And some have lived experience maybe like yours, other have
Yes.
lived experience like mine.
I think everything happens for a reason. So I somehow feel that I had that fear of PCOD already, you know. So I think the ectopic pregnancy helped me to restart with with an altogether different fire, different energy on inside, that I'm strong, I can rise up again, whatever might have happened. So I think I just totally forgot that I even had PCOD. I was more about, I've just had a surgery, but I have to recover, and I have to make sure I'm healthy again to plan another, to plan for the second time. So I think whatever happened for good, in a way where it just helped me shift my mindset and be more strong hearted about my choices and my intentions. And that's exactly why I feel that if we make up our mind, really, the body and the nervous system and the organs somehow just listen to it and they just do the magic. But we have to be having that wiring in our head, in our brains, done in that manner that it is able to send those signals, those positive vibrations. And I'm all about energy, really. So I feel that that's exactly what happened, that we were together, both me and my partner, we were into it, and we really wanted to make sure that this time it was successful.
It's really the way you say, like, it's the mindset, because you guys have, I already had this issue, so of course I will have something else, and now forget it, I'm not gonna be a mom. It's just the way you reframe. No, that happened, I still can be strong, can be a mom, and you have somebody else helping you, guiding through this energy and mindset, and be able to think about conceiving and be a mom. That's really great.
Yeah. I think it's really essential, because it needs now, it was like a teamwork, really. I couldn't have done it if I didn't have an exceptionally good doctor who I could trust, and I could go back to her for anything and everything. I mean, as much as she was like a sister-in-law, but I knew that I could, just tell her about whatever I'm thinking, whatever I'm feeling related to, while I was even in the entire pregnancy stage and in those trimesters that I was going through. So it was wonderful that, just setting up intention doesn't help if there's no action happening in that direction, So that action was happening because I was lucky to have, a fabulous doctor, to support me. And sometimes what can happen is, if you don't get the right doctor, then things cannot really go in the right direction or go positively as much as you might have those intentions. So it is both about having those intentions and having like a proper action plan or something which will help you to execute it, and then the energy is aligned towards that, and the execution can create some result. So that ways, I think I feel very grateful to her, even today. And, that I got my son because I think it was her skills and her knowledge, her expertise, which helped me, to come through that process.
I believe in a little different, the way you just mentioned, things happen for a reason. I don't really think they happen for a reason. I think they happen, and the way you kind of, your mindset over these situations, it's how you guide you, how you're going to go through life. Well, I end up having 2 kids after that. Today, actually, today is my oldest son's birthday. He's 12 years old.
Oh my God.
So yeah, our story is very close. Our story is very similar. So yeah, but after that, I stopped trying getting pregnant. It happened by accident. So I always call my 2 kids little miracles. So I was 37 years old when I became pregnant. So that was late, of course, really crazy at the time. Oh my gosh, I am pregnant. And then just rushing to make sure it was in the right place. Healthy, healthy kid. Normal, things that happens in kids' life. I'm just having really like a roller coaster right now. My kids getting sick, but overall they are healthy. And so the hope that happens, you might don't have YouTube, you don't have, or even I don't know, even I haven't heard the story, but I would love to hear if anyone has a story similar. If you have ectopic pregnancy, if you don't have the two tubes, you still have a healthy uterus. You still can
Yes.
have an IV conception. So there's
Yes.
many options. You can become a mom,
Yes.
and in different ways. Was surrogate or
Yes.
adopting, and when you
Adoption. Yes.
adoption.
Absolutely.
So, and all this situation, and at the time that I thought, oh, it's okay if I don't become a mom, but today I know how much I was meant to be a mom, like
Yeah.
how much becoming a mom shaped me, who I am, made me stronger, maybe what I am, maybe have like different visions, different connections. And I feel so much myself. I have a friend that she says, you were meant to be a mom. Because like
Wow.
what I love, the stress, the bad things, they are part of our mom life. It's not like all beautiful, all colorful. You have stressful,
Oh,
and then you go, okay, you take your time, you take a few breaths. Okay, let's see how we can work this out now. And I would say no better than a mom to do that. And this experience that we live, how much we connect with other moms, how much is important for the moms to hear and see how you're not alone. Now you're not alone with your experiences. We both have such a different experiences under the same circumstances. That's really rare, but it's wonderful that we can share and we can connect with my moms. And I have just a few questions for you to answer to me before we end this conversation.
Yes, sure.
Through your motherhood, what was the hardest decision you have to take as a mom?
So the hardest decision to take as a mom was to walk out of my marriage, actually, because I had to go through domestic violence, and I somehow felt that I didn't want to raise my son with values where it was okay, to to physically abuse your partner. So the biggest decision was walking out, and uh, uh, and when like people say that you should continue in your partnership for your child, this is the one time I said that no, I don't want to do it because of my child, because I don't want him to witness this. If it's happened once, I don't think that it can't happen again. So I just put my foot down then and there in the first time itself. And I know still a lot of people, even today, say, oh, you should give second chances. There are always second chances. I'm sure there are. Maybe if I had decided back then about it and given a second chance, maybe life would have been different. Maybe something else would have happened in my life. But that does not mean that I have any regret about it, because I do know that it shaped my son to grow as a compassionate person who is, who is gentle and kind, and I think very sensitive towards, towards people, towards his relationships around him, whether it's with friends or with his teachers or back at home. So I have a feeling that if we took the responsibility of bringing somebody into this world, bringing life into this world, then that's just not where it stops, because we need to make sure that up to a certain age that they are able to, their brains are stable enough to take decisions for themselves. At least up till that age, our responsibilities as parents, as moms, will continue. I mean, as much as kids keep saying, Mom, I've grown up now, I mean, I'm a teenager now, or whatever, I still know that it's hard for his brain. So the brain is still in a developing stage. And so that's why what we do and how we do, they are observing, they are watching, and that's what they are learning from. So this was one big decision which I had to take, because I knew that if I continued, he will watch what's happening between us as parents and learn and grow with that. So yeah, that was my big one, really.
Yeah, it's hard. I totally can see that. Oh,
Yeah.
so let's talk about the good part here. What
Yes.
is the experience? What I just gonna let's let's recenter here. What is the
Yes.
experience as a mom, Kusha, that you would love to relive, like over and over?
Oh my God. So I have to go back a little bit because there was a moment when, we were still not separated. One of the times my partner literally took my son, who was still, what, 3 months, that 4 months old time period, and he took him away from me for about one night or 2 nights, and we were not, I was separated from him, and he went back to his parents' home, and that was kind of 2.5 hours away from where we were currently living. So, I still remember that moment was so hard for me. And so coming back to reality, or coming back to now, the present moment, is that as much as I love to have my own space, my me time, but whenever I am in my me time, I still miss my child around me. And I'm like, oh, where is he? And then when he's here, he gets on my nerves. But then that's the magic, that's the beauty of it, that we want them in front of us when we are busy doing stuff. And when they are actually in front of us, we are like, oh, why you like that? You're so troublesome. We've got all kinds of, stuff to, you know, complain, or just to, just to pull, point out at them. You're not doing this. You're not listening to me. So this whole journey, is so magical, and it's so beautiful because we are connected from the inside, from the soul. So even if we will and I'm sure it's going to happen someday or the other, that he's going to, go on his own way. He's going to make his own home. He's going to have his own life. But that connection is something on the inside. You can feel it in your stomach, because that's where, the life was connected, when we were conceiving. So I know this for a fact, that however far or however near, this thing in your stomach which it makes you feel, you cannot ever feel it in any relationship. It's always that mother and child bond, and that's how it gets created, really, because it's happening on the inside. So for me, that's like the most magical things of motherhood. And and just the fact I see him growing, and we are, as moms, able to visualize the baby, and then the 5-year old, and then now the 12-year old, and then as soon as they'll be 18, and then a 21, and then getting married, and they having kids. But in our eyes, we can actually see their entire life. So I think that's also another thing which only moms can do. And so we cannot visualize our own life, but our moms can do it for us. You know what I'm trying to say? So the same thing is with us for our own children. We can literally rewind in the past to know that how he looked like, or she looked like, as a baby, and then so on and so forth. So it's a magical connection. I feel that the universe, or whoever has gifted it to us, women, that only we can create this magic. And I know now there are so many technologies which are allowing us to have babies through technology and medical facilities, but still that bond is something which is hard you know to compare it with anything else, I feel.
Yeah, that's for sure. Even I have a friend that she didn't have any child herself. She adopted them, and I see the relationship she has with these kids. It's unique. It's like she's their mom, because the bond that is like it's about the feeling that you have when you have a child.
Mm,
Even I believe like women, they even have this kind of motherly feeling
mm,
towards other people, or a friend with a friend. and many women, they don't even like, as a mom, they have this kind of bond towards other people that is really motherly bond that they create. That's
Yes.
And I really understand, get what you say. We are capable to relive those moments that we live with them. Like if you just see the picture, like, so, like I see my kids, like my daughter always asks me, "Oh, mom, what's your favorite age?" It's like, well, right now, because the moment that I'm living now, what they're doing now, but doesn't mean that I did not feel the same way when they were like, month or 3. Like always the moment is special. I wouldn't want to go back. Just live this moment, every moment, like nice and intensely, like, and I can look at the picture and close my eyes and have the feelings that I have like that. Just this morning, I was taking my son to school. It was like about the time he was born. He was born 7:33 a.m. I was like, oh, now you are 12. Like you are, this is officially when you're 12, you're born. And just 12 years ago, you were there crying on my lap. Now you're here. I'm taking you to school.
Oh, bless him.
So yes, that's the wonderful part of motherhood. Motherhood. Kusha, I'm so happy. I'm so happy we got to share and have this conversation. Really,
I'm so happy we're doing this, and I think you're right. Because the more we talk about our stories and our experiences, and the more we are able to, reach out to the world and share it through different platforms. I honestly feel that it gives people that courage, because somewhere or the other they do have that hope, but then it needs that action. Like just I said initially, you have the intention, but if it's lacking action, there won't be any outcome. So when we are doing this, we are allowing them to find that space to be brave enough to take that decision and not hold themselves back. And it requires a lot of courage, from the inside. So I know you're going through something since the last year. So you need a lot of courage to be strong, to not be soft anymore, because it's about, who you are as a person. And then do you deserve this, or do you deserve happiness? So I feel that's what eventually matters. So when we're doing this conversation and we're talking about our own experiences and our story, somewhere in the corner of the world, somebody who's going to listen to this someday, should probably be able to, after this call, after hearing this interview or this conversation, should be able to take the next step. I'm not saying just go ahead full out and take all the world's decision, but just even if they can take that one little next step to help them move forward and not stay stuck, I think our job is done, and we've achieved what we really wanted to, by starting this, really.
Yes, that's true. That's my motto. Like with this story, if your story can impact one person, it's worth it. Is it worth it it's like a story matters. It's worth to share, because one person, one mom, was the one that shared her story about her ectopic pregnancy, and that made a whole difference in my world at the time, in my my whole experience, as like in being positive and hopeful, and that's what matters. So thanks again, Kusha.
Absolutely.
Have a wonderful day.
Welcome, Simone. Thank you so much. You also have a lovely day ahead.
Big hugs. Big
Thank
hugs.
you.
Love, much love.
Take care. Bye-bye.